They say the dead never leave. They just wait for someone to remember their story. Her name was Minako, a Filipino-Japanese woman born in Laguna, where the air still whispers the stories of the old. She grew up between two worlds, one of faith and one of superstition. When her Japanese grandmother passed away, the family received a wooden box, small, sealed, and strangely heavy. Inside it lay a doll, dressed in red silk, its glass eyes polished like mirrors. Her mother said it was a gift, a blessing from their ancestors. But to Minako, the doll didn't feel like a blessing. It felt alive. That night, as rain tapped on the roof, she swore the doll had moved. The wind chimes outside began to ring, though there was no wind at all. The next morning, an old woman came from Japan. She claimed to have known Minako's grandmother. She gave Minako a letter and whispered, "Keep it sealed," and never opened the locked room upstairs. Minako didn't understand until that night when she found a rusted key hidden beneath her grandmother's altar. Curiosity, after all, is louder than fear. That night, the house felt heavier, as if the walls themselves were holding their breath. Minako kept hearing soft knocks, 3 times, always from the same direction. It was coming from the locked room upstairs, the one her grandmother forbade her to open. She told herself it was just the rain, but the knocking grew louder. The letter the old woman gave her lay untouched, its red wax seal glimmering under candlelight. She reached for the letter, but the candle beside her suddenly went out. Something moved upstairs. She took the rusted key from her pocket and began to climb. Every step echoed like a whisper. At the top of the stairs, the door waited, old, splintered, with strange carvings etched along its frame. Her hand trembled as she placed the key into the lock. The door creaked open, and the air that escaped was colder than death. Inside, she saw something that didn't belong in this world. Every doll had her grandmother's face. Minako froze, her breath trembling in the still air. Dozens of porcelain eyes stared back, lifeless yet aware. The air inside the room was thick, scented with old incense and something sweet, like rot. Then one doll twitched. Another followed, heads turning, joints creaking, as if waking from sleep. Minako stumbled back, her lantern swinging wildly. A whisper filled the room, hundreds of tiny voices murmuring the same word, Minako. She tried to run, but the door behind her slammed shut. The lantern fell, glass shattering, and darkness swallowed the room. From the shadows, one doll began to move on its own. Its porcelain cheek split open, revealing something beneath. It wasn't a doll at all. It was her grandmother's face whispering. Minako screamed, but her voice didn't echo, because the house itself had begun to breathe. When the light returned, Minako was no longer alone. The air shimmered, and from the corner, her grandmother's ghost stepped forward. Her voice was soft, the same voice that once told bedtime stories. "Minako, we never meant to curse you," she said. "We meant to protect what was left of us." Minako's hands shook. The doll on the floor began to glow faintly, veins of light tracing across the cracks. Blood began to drip from Minako's palm, where she gripped the broken porcelain. The walls started to move again, not from ghosts, but from memories. Her grandmother spoke again. "Our souls were trapped in these vessels, the price for our safety during the war." Minako fell to her knees, realizing the dolls were not evil. They were her family, imprisoned. The whispering voices now wept, calling her name not in hunger, but in sorrow. Her grandmother's spirit reached out and pressed the doll into Minako's bleeding hand. "Carry us," she whispered, "or we will fade forever." Tears streamed down Minako's face as the room went dark once more. When the sun rose, the door was open again. Inside the room, there were no dolls, only the old wooden box and a single red ribbon. They say spirits never leave the places where they are remembered. Some linger to protect, others to remind. Minako learned that love, even from the dead, can bind tighter than chains. The Red Kimono Doll wasn't a curse. It was a promise, one written in blood, memory, and silence. And in every story like hers, there lies a truth that the past never really dies. It only waits for someone brave enough to remember. New tales awaken every week. Follow Asian Gothic tales, where myths breathe and the forgotten still speak.